evening, and welcome to the Nobody Asked Me Guys show. Guys, listen, I'm your host, Melvin Casey Lars, and as all of you that come to the Nobody Asked Me Guys show, you know how we roll. We don't waste people time pontificating and talking about cookie cutter questions and asking dull things and putting people to sleep. But tonight, we have a dynamic guest with us, by a young man by the name of Larry Robinson II, and he'll be talking with you not only about life, briefly as he talk about basketball, talk about sports, talk about moving in and out of the NBA, just talk about those that influenced his life. Robinson hails from a place called Bossier City, Louisiana. Most people are familiar with New Orleans, Baton Rouge, etc., Shreveport, but Bossier City is a twin city to Shreveport, and we just want to give you some insight on that. Now, he was a high school All-American. He matriculated to East Oklahoma Junior College, where he averaged 24 points per game. He received a fine arts degree in 1988 from said junior college. Accepted a scholarship to Centenary College. He received an arts degree in 1988, helped them to a 22-8 record. He was a TAAC's conference MVP, guys, in 1989-1990. Now, he began an 8-team, 9-year NBA journey in 1990. 2004, he returned to his alma mater at Centenary College, where he received a bachelor's degree in health and exercise science. Now, needing a change of pace, he entered the gaming industry as a vice president of gaming. He became president of sales, but he partnered with Future Technology as they formed a company called Eagle Strike, where he became a president of sales. His work ethic and skills earned him a promotion position as state manager with Powerhouse Gaming, where he now resides in Midlothian, Virginia, with his lovely wife, Felicia, where they both enjoy spending quality time with 4 children and 3 grandchildren. So, guys, as you can understand, anytime you have a guest or you have a man of all seasons, and that's what I'm going to call Brother Robinson tonight, a man of all seasons. He's done so many things. Like most of you may or may not be aware, I have a lot of people from all over the country, and some of you guys live in small cities, and some of you live in large towns, but rarely do you get to meet individuals from all walks of life. Mr. Robinson, good evening.
Good evening, Lars. How you doing?
Well, listen, it's certainly a pleasure having you here, sir, and we want you to know that tonight is your night. The show is your show, if you will, sir. If you
Yes.
just tell us a little bit more about your journey, and please tell us about your lovely wife, Felicia. If throw the grandkids in if you like, and we'll keep the show flowing.
Wow. Well, let me begin by saying what an honor it is. As you know, them roots, you mentioned Bossier City, Louisiana, and right away we've been talking, but as soon as the microphone came on, the respect for you came. Instead of calling you Melvin, I called you Mr. Lars. So that lets you know that upbringing that we have is still embedded in me, and I bring it with my kids. But what a treat, what an honor to be here with you tonight. Great timing as well too, because those people that you mentioned, my wife and grandkids and kids, we were all just together just yesterday over in Dallas, celebrating my 8-year-old grandson's birthday, and our youngest son, who is 24, is now playing semi-professional basketball. He had a big game over in Dallas, which super proud of him. He showed up and showed out yesterday. Career high 20 points. I got a chance to see him play live. So family is everything. I'm just thrilled to be here. I don't even know where to begin, but I'll tell you, it's a real simple story. Small little skinny kid from Scott Street in Bossier City, Louisiana. As some of my buddies are on here, 2100 Scott Street. Got to call it right. And first coach to ever put a ball in my hand was my uncle. My uncle is Charles Hunter. Everyone knows him as a school teacher. Legendary, played over at Charlotte Mitchell High School. I was 3 years old when he gave me my first basketball. And he told me, listen, you eat with this, you sleep with this, you go to school with this, you walk, you do everything with this. And I wanted to be just like him because he was over at Panola Junior College. And I thought it was the coolest thing to see him come home on weekends and with his afro and his Letterman's jacket on, with his Chuck Taylors on, and so that was kind of flashy to me. And so I grew up wanting to emulate him, and he really gave me an opportunity to do something that I didn't know I was going to do, and that was to make it out of somewhere that we all want our kids to do. And I owe a great deal to my Uncle Charles because had he not put that basketball in my hand, we probably wouldn't be having this story right now. So um, just want to send a shout out to him. Love you, Uncle Charles, 100 for that. But went to Butler Elementary School. The late great Jerry Tim Brooks was my first basketball coach. He called me pro, like he probably called everybody pro. But I never forget, I was in the sixth grade, and we had a big game, and we actually won the game in front of our home crowd in Butler. And he walked over to me and said, "Pro, you gonna go places, bro. I know you're gonna go places." I never knew what that meant all the way to the league, but he had a vision. So from Butler, I went on over to Green Acres Junior High School, where me and several of my friends went undefeated, seventh grade and eighth grade. Shout out to Gerald Gladney from Scott Street as well too. Was my dynamic point guard. We went on from Green Acres to Airline High School, where we had the luxury of going my senior year. We went 30-0, and I think that record still stands today as an undefeated regular season. Won all the city championships and tournaments. So we really were a blossoming team then, and I was coming into my own around my high school time. Grew about 4 inches from my junior year to my senior year. Went from 6'2", was 6'1.5" to about 6'4", 6'5". So I could really do some things once I got that height on me. And from there, just followed that basketball trail, as you said. I, I I had offers to go to a lot of major D1 schools, but being from a small town like Bossier, I hadn't really been anywhere before, so I wasn't too keen on going to say the Oklahoma cities, Oklahoma states, the OUs of the world. So I chose the college route, and it turned out that was a blessing in disguise too. Went on to be a junior college All American. Now, as I'm unwinding here, I'll tell you a quick story about my transformation from Eastern Oklahoma. Shout out to the Mountaineers there, to coming back to Shreveport. I never had any intentions to come back home after I left and went to junior college. And so there I was getting all this recognition in Oklahoma. OU was a very dominant school at the time. Billy Tubbs was hot on my trail. I mean, Florida State, top schools in the country were coming to see me play. So the coach at Centenary at the time, Tommy Vardaman, loved that man. That was my coach at Tommy Canterbury and Tommy Vardaman. But Vardaman comes to see me at Eastern, and I had to tell him I wasn't going to come. Well, obviously there weren't a lot of cell phones going on back then. There were pay phones everywhere, but Coach miraculously had a cell phone, and we were outside in the parking lot. And so it was my time to say, "Coach, thanks for the visit, but I'm not going to be attending Centenary. I'm going to go somewhere else." So when I got outside, I got ready to start telling him that. He said, "Hold it, hold it, hold it. Somebody's on the phone, want to talk to you." And I'm like, who wants to talk to me? Well, I didn't know, Melvin, that he had my mom on the phone. And so my mother gets the phone, and I say hello, and she said, "Baby, this is Mom." And I'm like, "Mom, what you doing on the phone?" She's like, "Well, I understand you're thinking about going to some other schools, and we just want to let you know, baby, we want you to come home. Come on back home to Shreveport. We need you here." And I looked over at Coach, and he laughed at me, and he said, "I got the one weapon that Billy Tubbs and the rest of those guys didn't have. I got your mama." And that's pretty much how I signed my letter of intent right there on the spot, and transferred to Centenary College, as you know, and spent the next 2 years there. And we had a great time at Centenary. I tell kids all the time, Melvin, that's where I developed my manhood, my mannerism. It wasn't just basketball there, but I became a Kappa Alpha Psi. I'm a founding father there, joined that fraternity. One of the first, you got a squeak in your eyes right now. Um,
I
did
didn't.
you
I did not know that we were fraternity brothers.
really start till the day I die? Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
We started the first chapter at Centenary spring of 1990. And even though that was going on, I was transitioning into the pro game. So I was going to a bunch of NBA combines, Chicago, LA. So I was on planes studying my history of my Greek, trying to understand that and crossing those sands, as well as try to make it to the league. So as you can tell, that was a pretty difficult journey as well too. But I did cross those sands. I'm proud to say I am a Kappa man, and how ironic that our centenary mascot is the gentleman, and everyone know that Kappa men are straight up gentlemen. So it just
Absolutely.
and so from there, I got my shot in the NBA. The late great Wes Unseld was my first NBA coach with the Washington Bullets. A lot of you guys can see the picture behind me there. Um, if you can't, then you can see there's a guy in a red jersey. I think his number is number 23. He was in Chicago. Some bald-headed guy, got some type of brand called Jordan. But I was a 22-year-old rookie starting in the NBA, and I got my first taste of real life when I had to go head-to-head against Michael Jordan. Um, Speeding up that process there just because I knew I had arrived when I walked into that arena and 25,000 people were there. I thought they were there to see me, but they had the cameras flashing and looking at Mike the whole time. But we end up having a great game. I had some terrific veterans with me, the great Bernard King, Darrell Walker, Harvey Grant. Um, and those guys took me under their wings, and we actually beat the Bulls that night. That picture that's up there, we beat them 104 to 103 for our season opener. And I didn't know it then, Melvin, but I knew after that game that my name's going to be around a long time to come because I played a pretty good game that night. You can't stop Michael Jordan, obviously, and I don't tell anybody that I did, but I ended up scoring about 12 points that night. Michael had 28, um, and the win was what got us. And so I became this NBA player just off the sheer determination of playing that game. It was a TNT game, and Lord knows I didn't want to disappoint the fine people back in Shreveport, Bossier City. So I tried my very best to guard the great Mike, but went on to a prominent career in the NBA. Won an NBA championship with the Houston Rockets in 1994 with the great Akeem Olajuwon. I can go down that list: Kenny Smith, Vernon Maxwell, Big Shot Bob, Robert Horry, Mario Elie, Scott Brooks, Chris Gent. I mean, what a great team. Michael was retired at the time, and I still have these barbershop meetings that, well, if Michael wouldn't have been retired, would y'all have won the championship? And we argue that point because we believe Akeem was the best center in the game at the time. So it would have been, a difficult situation, but I think we would have had a chance to win those championships as well. That's just my opinion.
And
So
Larry, that's all that matters. It's your opinion. That's all that matters.
I
You
tell people
listen.
all the time.
Might I say, and you're on the floor, brother. That is classic. Everything that you're sharing with us right now is classic, and that's the flavor of this show because you can't see the monitor, but these young people are going crazy with these hearts and with these thumbs going up and that kind of thing because that is classic. So all of those that want to debate on whether or not you guys would have won the championship, whether Michael was playing or not, is not even up for debate. So please continue.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. That's what makes sports so wonderful too, though. You know what I mean? Your opinion matters to you. But went on to win a championship with the Rockets. And again, I'm hitting high points here, and I do want to fall back and go back because that's the cream on the crop of
This
of
is
a,
your
of a
show.
career.
This is
But
your
hey,
show.
there were some tough times there too. Not only did I just play in the NBA, but I winded up in the minor leagues. I was in the CBA. Scratching my way back back to get back up there. Won a CBA championship as well with the Yakima Sun Kings. Shout out to my guys that helped me to win a CBA championship as well. CBA brought me to Shreveport. I played against the Shreveport Crawdads, so I had a chance to come back home. But there were a lot of ups and downs on that journey that I was on. But I would always hear people tell me, brother, you don't know how to give up. You don't know how to quit. Um, I couldn't quit, Melvin. Wow.
Hey, I'm loving it. The kids are loving it because they're going crazy with
I
the hearts
couldn't.
and the thumbs up, and that's why we want to just give you a break while you continue to reminisce. It's wonderful. First of all, let me say to you to sit and be able to hear you share your dreams, to be able to hear you share your fight, to be able to hear you share about your tenacity and that kind of thing. Because again, these young people don't get it. Most of your major sports shows don't get it. They simply talk about the Michael Jordans and the stars that they fill of stars, and they never talk about life. And exactly what you're giving us right now is what our young people need, and even some of the old guys like myself. So hey man, let me say to you is that keep rolling and keep sharing because we need to hear exactly what you're talking about. So keep it moving, brother.
I will. I will. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's it's just a so for real moment because there again, you know, when I'd come back home, you know, I had so many people that was rooting for me. You know, it's a tough thing to prove it to your people back home. You know, I've been all over this world. I can speak 4 different languages. I played in France, Spain, you know, the Philippines, South America. I've done tours in Italy, you know, but your hometown people, your family, you know, you do it for them. And I always got people to tell me don't give up, don't quit. I always had brothers that I grew up with, you know, that I roll back home to the old neighborhood and I see the same cats on the same corners, you know, hustling, doing things that uh, I didn't do, you know. But I got to say this about my neighborhood. They loved me because you know what? When trouble came, I remember cats telling me, "You don't go follow the crowd. You go the opposite direction." You know, when people try to come in our neighborhood, you know, there were knuckleheads growing up trying to make their name through the streets, want to fight. Other neighborhoods coming in, you know, that wanted to get a reputation. And again, I'm gonna throw this name back out here again because a lot of people don't know this, but shout out to my best friend Gerald Gladney. You know, he was a little old pit bull, but you couldn't roll up in the hood talking about fighting Larry Robinson without, you know, seeing Gerald Gladney first or anybody from the neighborhood. So, you know, it was times where it was tough, but you know, I love where I came from. I love what it has brought me, what it has taught me, and not just Bossier City, Shreveport, Halton, you know, Princeton, Benton, Plain Dealing. You know, I made the circuits playing ball in all those cities and got a lot of respect from a lot of people. So, you know, the things that I've accomplished, I accomplished it for the whole region because you know it wasn't a lot of us. I remember, you know, you and I talked about this earlier. You know, it was just a few um, pro athletes from our circuit, from our area. You know, and you know we didn't get a lot of opportunities. So
Right.
again, I think about this now because I did it for so many other people, not just myself.
But
Um,
Larry, might I say, as you're sharing about the things that you and the reasons that you did it, you know, we asked for you to have special guests, and I
yes.
see they are here. And feel free to speak with them directly.
Okay.
They and your
Okay.
guests are welcome to speak. They're welcome to share
Okay.
with you. They're welcome to share their adventures with you, etc. So that's why I was sharing, and I share with people all the time is that we don't do traditional shows.
All
We
right.
do we do shows where we deal with real live human beings because that's life. So
I do got crazy shout outs to a lot of people here, but first and foremost, shout out to my beautiful wife Felicia. I mean, you know what? That's my BFF. That's my ride or die. She's man, she's been everything and then some to me. I see so many people now that you've opened this up. Shout out to my sister Jade, Jimmy. Shout out to Tanky. I see you guys. Shout out to Mark Cooper. Oh my goodness! Now I'm looking at this. Gerald Gladney, that's you, man.
What's up, home? You know it. You know I couldn't miss this, baby.
What's up, man?
You
This
know that number love, baby. You
this
know
was
that.
this was calling all the way from Las Vegas, man. Wow. What?
Come
What's
on,
up?
baby. You know better than that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I
Yes, sir.
do. I do.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Yes, I love every moment of it.
appreciate it. Appreciate you. You know I do. Mark Cooper, how you doing, man?
Oh yeah.
You got something that you want to share, Mr. Gladney? Because I know I threw your name out there a couple times, even call you a pit bull. So I know you ain't like that today, but there was a reason why you was like that back then. You had my back from day one, man, and you
Hey,
know.
ain't nothing but love, baby. I know it. Nothing but love, baby. You know that.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yes, sir. Still got it today, no matter what.
Till they put us in the coffins. 100.
Cooper.
You know how I go, bro. You was my mentor,
Mm.
so it's always been like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Continue your journey, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very thankful for you.
I appreciate that.
Love you,
Love you right back, man. Appreciate that, man. Yes.
no doubt.
Wow. You know,
Oh yeah, and I'll see you soon.
I hate to put him on the spot, but Mark Cooper, real quick, his older brother, Harold Cooper, was the guy that was my summer basketball camp director. I did basketball camps back home for 10 years, and Harold, for whatever it was worth, come up with this crazy idea and said, Larry, let's just do one basketball camp for one summer for the kids back in Bossier City. Come back home and do one big camp. And Melvin, I got to be honest with you, one camp turned into 10 summers, 10 straight summers of basketball camp all across the city. And Coop was the youngest of all of us, but you know, when the big boys would roll out, either he hid in the backseat of somebody's car, or he got a ride where we were and showed up. You know, we snuck him into places he probably didn't need to go into. So, and you know, when Harold, you know, good Lord called Harold on, I felt that I owed it to him to be a big brother to Mark, and I'm glad I did. You know, that kid right there has been special to me for a long time. So that was just a so for real moment there. Oh wow!
Now, Larry,
Yes.
as we move forward, and you've certainly addressed your friends. Some of them have felt the need, and I'm happy about that. I hope they all share before we close the show, and allow me to continue to repeat is that these hearts and thumbs are going crazy over here, and people are really enjoying what you're sharing. But as we talk about being the humanitarian, because from what I'm hearing from you, you are humanitarian. From what I'm hearing from these young brothers, from Brother Gerald and brothers you're talking to, you being a humanitarian. Will you speak to the fact of loving and caring about people as a whole? Because there are so many of our younger people with the onset of violence all over the country and that kind of thing don't seem to get or to grasp that you have the Larry Robinsons in the world, where your friend talk about camps and you did it for 10 years and you're working with situations now. Will you address the humanitarian that Larry Robinson is? And actually, you've talked with us about that already when you mentioned your uncle school teacher and not taking the ball out of your hand. But can you say something to our young people that will let them understand the importance of being a humanitarian?
Um, you know, there's an old saying, Melvin. It takes a village, and I'm a firm believer of that because, we were young and dumb, and just running around. Um, the women and the men of our community, they looked after us. And what I mean by that was there was a clear message from my grandmother and my mother. When that street light came on at 7 o'clock, if me and my brother was nowhere near the house, they had the right to either get on our butts or call our mom and let her know where we were. And sure, there were some times where kids laughed at us about that, but I like to say that that helped save me, because it seemed like as soon as the street light came on and it got dark, crazy, strange things would happen in the neighborhood, just like they're happening right now. It tears my heart up to know what's going on back in my hometown in Shreveport and Bossier. And I see an opportunity to address that before I get off of here, because there's something I do want to do that has been heavy on my heart to do. But you know, for those that are listening, life is so precious, and you don't have to gain a reputation out there in the streets to be somebody. You don't have to. You don't have to go up to somebody else's door and pull out a gun or shoot up into somebody else's house to prove that you're somebody that's bad. Want people to fear you, because God don't want us to be feared. He's the only one that we need to fear. We don't need to fear each other. And so you young brothers and sisters that's walking around here that want to gain respect in the streets, that's not the way to be. You know, I love. My wife sometimes tells me, you know, you love too much, you love hard, but there's a reason why, because you know it's lacking in this world. And so I want to say this to him. You know, yeah, I could have easily fallen off into those to the games. Could have easily got into the hustle game. It was right there for me to do. You know, it was right there for us to do, but I didn't. I chose a different path, not because I was forced to, but because I wanted a way out. I didn't want to leave and never come back, but I did want to leave and go grow and come back. Now I can pull up on 2100 Scott Street or Shreveport or Halton, Princeton, Bossier, and it's just all love. And for those that don't love me, well, they know that there's enough respect that we got differences, but just keep it at differences. But so love is what really is what we're needing. And so, you know, if you guys out there that are talented, which you all are talented at something, it might not be basketball like it was for me. It may be music, art, whatever. Search your talent, find out what that is, and gravitate to it. What people don't know about basketball is I made a career out of it, but it was my craft. I developed the craft in life. God gave me those abilities to play ball. You know, he could have swooped down into that circle where I was and picked any one of us, because we're all good basketball players. But he shined a light on me. And now I know why he did, because the humanitarian part of it, the giving back part, you know, the giving, the showing the love. We're needed more now than ever, you know. And so I do want to tell them, put the guns down, put the weapons down. You know, hey, back in the day, it was okay to have a fist fight because everybody gonna go home. You know, we're gonna talk about it for a little bit, but everybody gonna go home. The parents gonna come outside, stand in front of the yard and see what really happened, make sure that there's no blood. But the fist fight, it ended right there. But today we're resulting to gun violence, and I'm seeing young people, 17, 18 years old, that's throwing their lives away just for a reputation in the streets. Now, again, I didn't choose that route, and that's why I'm able to be here with you and talk to everyone here. So I do want to be able, if you need somebody to talk to, if you don't have a mentor in your life, Mark talked about a mentor. If you need a father figure, if you need a big brother mentality, I fly back and forth all the time. And I got some great friends right back home right now that will to do the same thing that I'm doing. And there's a way to get out of this thing without us putting each other in graves. The biggest thing that bothers me is these GoFundMe apps that come up. Somebody says it in a song, there's no life insurance policies, but we got to go get a GoFundMe to bury our young people. They ain't lived long enough to get a life insurance policy, to leave something to somebody. we've got to change the narrative here. We really do. And yeah, I know people say, well, man, they ain't gonna listen to you, man. Them young folks hard headed, man. They bought that life, whatever they may be, but there was some back there about those lives as well. Um,
That's
But
right.
Larry,
That's right.
might I interrupt? And I'm happy you said what you said. Those individuals that say they're not going to listen, we all know the old adage, right? It is somebody is always doing it while the other person is saying it can't be done. So just as you're explaining that, and you've done a great job, I'm not going to go repeat what you just said. The academic piece as well. Can you talk to them a little bit about that? Because when we talk about life and death, we even if they some of them weren't here when we were doing the introduction, where you went to Oklahoma, you went to the junior college, obviously you got your degree there, then you went to Centenary, then you went to the NBA, then you finished up your degree, etc. So that takes perseverance. And you talked about not quitting. You talked about hanging in there, and you're talking about moving forward. You also talked about and talking right now to them about life. You're talking to them right now about, you know, I wanted to leave and learn and come back. So we hear a lot of. I still do a lot of work with a lot of young kids, and I hear a lot of Larry. Oh man, that's just old school, and that's old people. And you said the key word they talk about they about that life. And can you just share with them when you made up your mind, or as you were making up your mind to, get that degree, as we talk about life in and of itself? Can you address that a few minutes?
sure, sure. Um, I think what really opened my eyes and a couple of my partners' eyes that's on here with us. I remember there used to be a Kroger's, well, on Benton Road, right behind the projects on Scott Street. And before surveillance cameras, there just used to be a manager sitting up there with a big mirror to see the whole store. And I remember waking up one day and some homeboys of ours went to the store and they got caught stealing, and they went to jail. Um, and again, I think we all tried it growing up because we didn't have a whole lot of money back then. I got my hand caught in the cookie jar with that. My dad beat the mess out of me with that. But a couple of our buddies went to jail. The next day, we come outside to go play ball on the courts, and I heard he got locked up. Well, that's all it took for me was to hear that somebody that I was growing up with has gone to jail at 16, 17 years old, got caught for stealing. So I made up my mind right then and there. I didn't ever want to see the inside of a 6x9 cell at all. Not that I was scared. That just wasn't the place for me. So that's when I made up my mind that they can say school is boring. They can say school is ain't no good. They can say that education don't mean nothing. Hey, I got 2 degrees. I got an associate's degree. I got my bachelor's degree. I am doing a business right now, and I'm proud to say that gross revenue is $100 million annually a year for the entire industry. And neither one of my degrees fits that business that I'm in right now. But having those degrees has opened up so many other doors for me. Life after basketball is even better than it was with basketball. But that's because I got myself into school. I stayed on the grind. Was it hard? Heck yeah. It wasn't easy, but nothing worth having is easy. So the education part, that's the ticket. That's the only way, without you becoming, a self-entrepreneur or something like that. But if you tied into sports, you can't have sports without education. A lot of people tried it, circumvent the system, didn't go to class, but he's on the football field or the basketball court. It catches up with you in the long run. So life after sports is what those degrees have done for me. So I do want the young people on here to understand that, there comes a time where, hey, and even if it isn't a degree, maybe it's the military. I got a lot of friends on here now that were successful in the military, but life after the military, they've got, greener grass now, so we just have to gravitate to something and stick to it and believe in ourselves. I think a lot of what's happening is there's a lot of doubt in our youth. today in themselves, and you know they're not sure of who they're going to become or who they're going to be, and you just got to believe in yourself.
Now I'm gonna throw you a little twist here, Larry. And I know we've been here a while. I'm gonna have to let you go. I don't want to keep you all night. But
I told you, Pat.
as you share that, as an old principal, man, and I'm asking this question, but I have to tell you this before I ask you the question. As an old principal, one of the most things that would really upset me was those of us that are charged with preparing these young people for the rest of their lives. And we choose not to do so for whatever reason. What would you, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what would you say to them? I mean, you don't have to be an educator in a school or anything like that. Unfortunately, knowing people, as you say, in the neighborhood, on the street, or in school systems or whatever, we say so much about the kids not being prepared, not listening. But you have even old cats like myself, young brothers like you, younger brothers who don't seem to think that we have a responsibility. And you talked about mentorship already in some of your buddies. What would you say to the younger brothers younger than you that are now adults, those in your age category, or even the old dudes like me, man? What would you say to them who don't seem to get it? Is that we are responsible. You talked about the village. What would you say to them?
First thing I say, shame on you. Shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, because you know what? I'll keep it real with you. Um, there were not a lot of married couples in our neighborhood growing up, but there were a lot of single women. And there were men that took on other men's kids and tried to raise them or raised them. All right. You did it then. So for the educators, or even like you said, for the people that didn't, it is our responsibility. We're going to be measured when it's time to speak to the man up above. He's gonna raw down on your credentials. And if you walked away from one of those assignments that he put you on, well, I'd hate to be in your shoes to discuss why you moved on from that. Um, we owe it to them. We owe it to them. Hey, if you can listen to the hustler who rose through with a candy apple red, sitting on 26s, and he's telling you how to go get this money the illegal way, you can listen to an educator that tell you how to go do it the legal way. So, but for those people, we can't give up on our young folks. We can't give up on our young people. I don't care what color they are, white, black, green, yellow, purple, it makes no difference. Um, and they need us. You know, um, my kids, I love each and every one of them. I'm yet to turn away from one of their friends who they've introduced me to. In fact, my kids have to tell me, Dad, hold on, you loving on them a little bit too much. They get a little jealous because I get them to call me pops or call me uncle or whatever the case may be, because I know that if I could give them a little bit of what I can show them, then I'm doing my job. So it's not your whole assignment, but you may have a part in that assignment to do a little bit to impact these people's lives. No one's asking you to pick up and carry that cross the whole way, but maybe some time with them can mean a lot. Um, I'm gonna put another friend of mine on the spot, a young man. Back home we know him as Rose, Demondre Robinson. Shout out to him. Um, he's a young man that came up through the same streets that I did. A very successful young man right now, but he's always going back and grabbing them young kids at those gyms and at those football games. He's showing up at games as if he's their dad or their big brother. He's spending time with them. He's not just giving them things, but he's spending time with them. I admire that because you know what? I looked around and we didn't have guys from the old neighborhood like that showing up at the gym or coming to talk to us about life, period. So, this young man has picked that torch up and he's riding with it. So I think we need more people like that because it does take a toll. And hey, even if you pull one of my sons off to the side and talk to them himself, I got no problem with that because I think he's speaking from the heart. And that's what these kids need is people that's speaking from the heart. So
Fantastic. Well, listen, I know I've had you here a long time, and I again want to give the opportunity to your special guests that are here if they want to share something before we begin to sign off. And I did not share with you before we got started is that when you see me looking up here, it's not that I'm not listening to you, I'm looking at the monitors.
yeah.
That's why you see me doing that. But, Larry, I have to ask this question now, and this is really might make you uncomfortable, but I told you I'm not a regular guy. As we talk about this village, we know that's an African proverb. There's been so much talk recently, people calling true history critical race theory, and people that look like you and I will say things like, well, that was then, this is now, but we still see things happening to this very day that impacts us all, and people talk about black on black crime and things like that. And the reason I'm mentioning that to you now, because as I said, with my young audience, is that so many of them, and some of these young men I know personally, some of the young ladies we know personally, don't seem to understand. And maybe you may not have something to say about this because I know I didn't tell you this before we started. Does not seem to understand that to know who you are is not an affront to anyone else, and to know the real story is not an affront to other people. And to know who you are and to respect who you are is not an affront to other people. So when you encounter these young men that you work with, and I ask you this again, I preface it by saying it may be an unfair question because we didn't talk about it earlier. But I just want my young people to hear from you as being a brother of African descent, of being a brother that grew up in a small town, of being a brother that had people concerned that you needed to be in when the lights came on, etc. That that's who you were processed by, and I use process when I'm talking about being reared. Although you did not come from the fancy house, you did not come from the fancy neighborhood. It was people that looked like you and I that helped Larry Robinson be who he is today. So I guess my question is more of a statement: is have you had the opportunity to encounter? It really is what I'm asking. I should have said I'm making a statement, then I ask a question. Have you counted these young people that really don't understand that all the talk about 1619 and all the talk about critical race theory is about helping them to really know their true history and know who they really are? Have you encountered many young men like that? And if you have or haven't, how might you address that?
Um, first of all, and I do understand where you're coming from with that, and I have throughout my journey, throughout my time across this country, ran across young men that don't have a clue about any of our heritage. Um, no one's taught them. They didn't go look for anything. So for those guys, I do try to spoon feed them some of our history because it's a very important piece of this world. Um, and we just can't afford to just live, you know, and not know where we come from. And so for that reason, I try to give them, not just the whole, we were on a boat, they threw some of us in the ocean to scare us from swimming. But even when we got here, I talk about Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, one of the wealthiest places for African Americans to be, before they raided it and destroyed it. They had their own banks, they had their own city, they had their own foods, they had their own trucking companies, the whole 9 yards. We were prospering, and for whatever reason, hatred caused us to lose all those things. And we see the devastation because it's taken us so many hundreds of years to come back around for this. So I do try to acknowledge the history of our culture. I'll even tell you a real brief story about what hatred almost caused me to do in
Please,
my young days. I was
please.
uh, I was leaving my grandmother and my mom home on a Sunday. I was at Centenary College. My mom then would do my laundry, make me come home to get a Sunday meal. and I'd go back over the bridge and get ready for school the next week. That was a tradition. They always wanted me to come home one day a week, and that was Sunday. So I'm driving back on Kings Highway. Those that are in Shreveport and Bossier City know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, Kings Highway and Line Avenue, excuse me, not Line, Market connected. And as I pulled up to the red light, I saw sirens. I saw sheriff's cars with the lights flashing. And this was during the David Duke era. And that name, we all know about that name, but there I was, 19, 20-year-old man pulling up at a red light. And on the corner, there were 3 Caucasian men. 2 of them were covered in white sheets, and one was covered in a red sheet with their mask on. They had their cards up and white power, white men supremacists. And there I was at the light. It seemed like that light stayed red forever. My first mind, I was so angry, I wanted to take my car and drive right into them, is what the first thing I wanted to do. Tears rolling down my eyes. But I think God let that light stay red so I could calm my storms down, because I could hear him saying, I got more for you, son. I got more for you. And I teared up a little bit, because that's the closest I'd ever seen to the Ku Klux Klan, right there in my home city. And they got the okay to do this from David Duke at the time. And I remember as that light changed and went green, I said, you will not kill my dream. You will not destroy my mental. You will not make me feel like I'm not going to go over to this school and do what I'm supposed to do. Actually, what you did do is you inspired me to make sure that if I ever ran across you again, you're going to have more respect for me. So I share that story with the people on here, because you know what? I've faced racism. I've faced it, and I stand in front of it, and I'm still here standing. Yeah. So we can't let it defeat us. We can't let it destroy us. We can't let it anger us enough to where we react to where, we take ourselves away from our loved ones who need us. Our kids, grandkids, our family members, friends, they need us. But racism is very real, and it's all over the country. It's even, we're looking at Ukraine and Russia right now. That's hatred. That's what that is. That's hatred that's going on. They're destroying these people because of a dictator. And I'm not afraid to say that, but that's hatred. That's control. And there's only one person that's in control, and he's the only person that sits on, and that's the super supreme being, God Almighty. So you face your adversities, young people and grown people. Stare them right down the face. Don't fear. Don't walk away from it. You challenge it. You challenge it to become better than who you are. Like I said, I'd never been that close to Ku Klux Klan before in my life, but looking at it now full circle, I'm glad I saw him, because I couldn't wait to get back on that campus and go to class. I couldn't wait to get them grades. I couldn't wait to go over there to the Gold Dome and bust somebody's head for 25, 30 points. I couldn't wait, because I wanted to prove that, you know what, you can't stop me. Only we can stop me.
Yeah. Melvin and the guests, I think that's one thing that I admire most about Larry. He always take a negative situation and he turns it into a positive. Besides him being so patient, he's always turned a negative situation into a positive situation. So I think for me, that's one thing that, helped him in his career, besides his loving spirit. I mean, that took him a long way. It got him here.
Hey, that's wonderful.
Hey, this is his cousin Larry, Cedric right here, Larry. I want to thank you for inviting me. I've been listening for this past 50 minutes or so and wanted to chime in, but your stories are so great that I wanted to hear more and more, because some of these I haven't heard. And I was also, even though I was practicing, I was on that team that he talked about, that 30-0 team. So I got to see a lot of that firsthand, when I was a freshman in high school. And one memory that I do have is, this is how I knew that Larry, my first cousin, was going to make it. We were in practice, and it was a break. And I think Gerald was going down, Gerald's point guard. He was going down the right side of the court. And he threw it to Larry. And I turned around because I was trying to figure out where he was throwing the ball to, passing it to. And I turned around and Larry comes down the middle. And all of a sudden I look up and this guy jumps up. I promise you, his head was like right by the rim. He dunked the ball and he pat the glass with two hands by the square. And I said, Mama P still cooking like that over there? I was like, what is going on, man? I need to go get me a plate of that. Whatever that is, I need a plate of that. And so, the legend grew on and on and on. And the more it grew, the more, I was proud of him as my cousin when I was a freshman, and thinking about that picture in the background. I was a freshman at in Lafayette. And that's all I used to brag on was my cousin playing, and he's going to play for Washington. And they played Washington. They were like, Jordan gonna bust him up. And when they won their game, I was like, man, I was so glad, because there's no way I was going to be able to face folks the next day and saying that you bragged on this guy and they got beat like that. So, awesome. And just continue to bless folks, man.
Well, thank you, Cedric. And before somebody else jump on real quick, I got to put Ced on the spot. Melvin, in case you don't know, Cedric Williams, that is school teacher's son. That is my first cousin right there.
This is Charles' son? Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I didn't know that.
From the tree. Thank you, cuz, for that. I appreciate it. But yes, he's a hell of a basketball player himself too. Now I think I saw my sister Jimmy. I think she was wanting to say something. I don't know if she's still here or not.
Please do, Miss Jimmy. Please do. Jump right in.
Yes. Any of those that do. I know I saw Tanky come on as well too. And
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's Tanky and James.
J-Dub, what's up, bro?
Hey, brother, how are you?
I'm good, fam.
Man, yeah. I know I don't want to take up a lot of time, but I want to tell, for the people that don't know me, I met this brother here a couple of years ago, and man, your heart and your spirit is just amazing. We talk quite often, and I just want to say, man, just inspiring the stories that we've all talked about that I'm hearing now. Man, I'm honored to call you a friend, and definitely on the side of the mentorship and these kids, brother, whatever you want to do, we can do it. So,
thank you,
thank you for letting me know. I'm laying up here after surgery, but I had to chime in and just listen to this, because like I said, we've talked about a lot of stories, but I don't know a lot of your story. But I know how I feel about you as a brother, so I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. And before I let Sis say something, let me just say here, you are the Uncle Tush Report. And for those that don't know, James Washington and his wife, his beautiful wife, Gloria Tanky, you need to get to know them, because the reason that he felt that vibe is because he's got the same type of vibe. And yes, 2 years feel like it's been 20, and I pray for 20 more to go. So thank you both for being here. I was gonna check on you and see how you were doing, but I'm glad to hear your voice. I love you both very much, very much.
We love you and Felicia.
Yes. Yes. Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm great, bro. I just want to say, I've known you probably 30 plus years, and I'm so proud of you. You have never changed out of all the years I've known you. I mean, you've stayed humble. You've just been a great guy all the way around, and I'm so proud of you. I mean, I have never, ever heard a bad thing about you. Don't know anything about, can't say a bad thing about you. You're just awesome. You're a great father, a great husband, a great big brother. Like, you've always been there for me. There's nothing I couldn't call or talk to you about. And I just thank you so much. And I love you.
You know what? The only thing you could say bad is that when we used to come to Houghton and kick them boys' butt out there, you be all over us about that. But it was all done with love, though. You know, it was. But Jimmy, you're right. We've been friends for 30 plus years. You know, not one bad word. You're an amazing friend. You're a God-given sister, and we're blessed to have you in our lives too. So, you know, you ever need us, we're only a phone call away. You already know. You don't even have to go through a long dragged out. But thank you for being here tonight as well too. It means a lot. It means a lot. It does.
In your journey, bro, God's gifted a great package. You and my sister-in-law, G-Man, Sis J, Tanky, J-Dub, Sid Williams, Bobby. Love you all, man. Let each one of us continue our greatness.
Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate that. Thanks a lot, dude.
No choice, man. I died on me getting out the truck. Hey, brother, nothing but love. Want to thank you for the long journey. It's been a long one, and we ain't done yet.
Not even close.
You, brother. Love you, sis.
You know, the story is much bigger than me. Like I said, it's just so many. You know, when I see these faces, when I see people, I see these comments. You know, when I did lose my brother David, who passed away from a malignant brain tumor, I was 17 years old. You know, we were young kids from Scott Street. We didn't know what no malignant brain tumor was. We didn't know that even existed. You told me, bro, you still got a brother, and you've been that brother. You know, I'm a little bit older than you. You want to act like an older brother, but you've been that brother ever since, man. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes. Number love, baby. Love you, bro.
Love you right back, man. Yeah. Tell Joe I said hello. Tell your wife we say hello, man.
I will.
As we are on this platform tonight, the Nobody Asked Me Guy show, let me again thank each and every one of you for loving Larry enough, for caring about Larry enough, for supporting him. And Larry, let me thank you again, brother. And allow me to share with your missus is that one of the greatest things that ever could have been said was said by your spouse. Now, why is that important? Because with all of our young audience on here tonight and with all the older people, we never talk about our African American marriages, our love life, etc. You know, some of us have gone through divorces, some have not, things like that, but we never highlight that. So, Mrs. Felicia, please allow me to give you your flowers openly and nationally, where you love your husband enough, you cared enough to pay homage and to pay him tribute among his family and friends and millions of people that don't even know who Larry was because they haven't followed him because there was another format. But now they know. And they heard from you, a Nubian sister, and they heard from him being the African brother that he is. And they see all of these other African brothers that love him. So allow me again to just express my gratitude to each and every one of you. So do we have any last comments, Brother Robinson?
I do. I thank my brother J Dub for reminding me of this. I said in the beginning of this, there was something I wanted to share and a thought that I want to do for back home. It's been heavily on me with all the gun violence and all these, you know, these young athletes who never will get an opportunity to see how far their careers could go. You know, God bless the young man that's at Huntington who lost his life to a senseless crime. You know, I want to come back home. My son who's playing professional basketball right now is actually playing his home games at the Centenary Gold Dome. Shout out to Larry. I had a great game last night, scored career high 20 points yesterday over in Texas. So great job with that. But I'm talking to some men, I'm talking to some former athletes. And even if they don't come, I'll stand. I want to invite the athletes of our hometown, from Shreveport to Boulder, from Benton to Plainview. I want to get with all these coaches that are following the prime times of the world. I want to invite them We'll send charter buses for these young men. I want them all to come to the Gold Dome. I want to have a seminar. I want them to understand that their reputation is bigger on those fields, on that basketball court, out there in the world than a reputation in Hollywood, Cooper Road, Jazz Quarters or whatever. I want to bring them in and do a seminar of talk about strategies of how to remain out of those situations that sucks them into.
Excellent.
A woman that too fast for herself. I don't know what she's trying to do. She's playing games with people, but to put that love and that energy into something that's going to free you from what we're all experiencing. I want to do this. I've already started talking to people who are going to get behind it and invest in it. We're going to invest in it. We got a foundation, the Larry Robinson Family Foundation, right now. But and then I want to bring this seminar into Shreveport. Maybe it's in the summertime. I'm hoping it's going to be somewhere like that. We invite these kids from all over to come in, and I want to not only just bring athletes in, but I want to bring fathers in. I want to bring businessmen in. I want to bring people that's going to come stand on the middle of the floor with me and talk to these young men about opportunities to try to save themselves from society. Because one thing they need to understand is society is jealous of them. Society is jealous of me. Society is jealous of the guys I roll with, because everybody's not going to sing your praises when you're out there. And they got it bad now because we got Instagram, Facebook, we got social media that's now, like you said, people all over the world can see. They didn't get to see me all over the world, but they get to see them now. And people are jealous of that. But we need to show them, we need to help them understand that it's okay to walk away from that trouble, from that drama. That don't make you weak. That don't make you soft. That don't make you the P word. That makes you smart. That makes you real. You know what? That makes you understand that this is bigger than what they're trying to do, because you got a mama that's ready to move on from what she's been staying for the last 15, 20 years. I want to be able to come and bring these young men in and spend days with them, have classes with them, talk to them about the things that's troubling them. We meet up and do groups. Hosting now. Real quickly, I want to put this together. I want the women involved because we got some powerful women back at home too. But this is just something that's been weighing heavily on me, and I want to see it sooner than later. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this because I want to give these people a fighting chance to learn that it's okay to walk away from that trouble. It's okay to walk away from that girl. You know what? You ain't gonna remember her if she's not really meant for you. To save yourself. So that's the vision. That's what I was wanting to share with this group here on this platform.
Beautiful.
You mentioned about the foundation, and I'll be brief about that. The Larry Robinson Foundation was formed because I spoke about it earlier. I lost Bobby. What's up, Bobby? Bobby Baker, how you doing? I just seen you chime in. Hello, brother. I lost David to a malignant brain tumor. So the foundation was created because we wanted to make awareness to cancer patients of cancer, primarily brain tumors. Like I said, I didn't know what a malignant brain tumor was, but that's a cancerous tumor that there's no coming back from a cancerous tumor. And we created that. We thought it would be an idea that we could raise money to donate towards cancer patients. And so you're going to see us get involved with, I plan to bring a golf tournament back home as well too, and to raise money and do that. So that's what the foundation part primarily is about, we're starting to get that off the ground and moving as well too. So a lot of good things are going to be happening through that. So that's what the foundation is. Now, as far as my wife, a beautiful wife, and what she's got going on, are you still here with us, dear? I know you are. Okay. So you want to tell them about the great Felicia Robinson? How you got that last?
I couldn't be great without my family. And let me say that everyone on this call is an extension of you. I have inherited the most amazing brothers and sisters that a woman could ever have. The Geralds, the Marks, the Jimmys, the Tankies, the James, Bobby's, Marks, cousin said, I've inherited the most amazing people. And I can say one thing about my husband. He surrounded himself with very humble and amazing. There's no other words to describe them. So, but as far as what I have going on, I'm gonna forever support my family. I love makeup. I forever do makeup. I'll forever be a makeup artist. But major projects are just supporting my family. My son, he's working on things. Our son, let me correct that. Our son, he's working on things to do, like Larry mentioned, in the community that can bring more awareness and positivity to our community. So I'm heavily working with little Larry on that. And now it looked like we're working on another project in the Gold Dome.
Sorry, dear, that you got it right now. But,
Larry Robinson Foundation. So yeah, I'm a busy woman. These guys keep me busy.
we do. Yes, we do.
Fantastic, guys. Well, listen, Larry and Felicia, as you share that, Larry, is this meeting with us today is not by happenstance, because it's going to solve a whole lot of things. I'm a cancer survivor, acute promyelocytic leukemia. I was told in 1990 I would not survive. It is now 2022. The type of camps you're talking about, coming to Centenary, Gold Dome, etc., brother. Hey, count me in. Not to try to tell you what to do. Just I'd love to help you. Before the great Dick Gregory passed away, we would do. I had to do all male men workshops. I brought him to Michigan to do some things with me. Brought Jim Brown to Michigan and to Ohio to do some things with me with stuff that we do with my organization called Brighter Futures. So what you are saying, man, is right on point. And to see a young brother do it, and to see you guys keep continue to do that, makes an old man feel real good. Let me tell you. So as you talk about what you're talking about as far as your foundation and with Felicia, etc., that is what we are about. That's really what this show is about.
Oh yeah, I apologize for being late. I just got out of practice, but I'm not too much sure what was going on in the meeting, but I'm pretty sure they was talking about how much an amazing person my father is. He's
Absolutely.
he's definitely a big inspiration on my life. He's a great role model, great leader, great man. And he leads by example, and I appreciate him for that every day. I know that he knows that, and I'm pretty sure everyone that's around him knows that as well. I'm actually doing what I love to do because of him, because he put it in my hands. So I'm just very grateful for him in my life, and hopefully he'll be around for years to come. So,
all right. So Larry, Sister Felicia, all the guys that have been here, again, I've said it, I'll say it again. It's been super having you here. If you have any closing remarks,
I hope I've some young people to realize that life is very precious. Think twice before you react to certain things that could cause you to alter your life. Be true to those people that, you got to remember, when you change the course of your life, you also impact those people that have been here with you. So, and also shout out to LR3. Quick story, I wore number 20 at Centenary College because I'm Larry the second. My father was senior, and so when he signed his contract with the Shreveport Mavericks, he said, "Pops, what number should I wear?"
On your birthday, go ahead.
Oh, on my birthday, that's right, on my birthday. He came to me on my birthday. So he goes, "Well, Pops, look, since you rock number 20 and everyone know you, and you Larry the second, I think it's only fitting that I rock Larry Robinson the third, and I wear number 33, meaning the third." So he's wearing number 30 now because he's 24 years old and he's creating his own identity, and I couldn't be a more prouder father to a real son. Never one day's trouble that he's given me, and so what he's doing now is what he's wanted to do. Even when I tried to talk him out of doing it, he has stayed persistent in doing it. So shout out, he had a career high 20 points yesterday in front of the family, and I've never seen him play so hard. But that's what's going to separate you. That's what's going to get you to the next level. You play hard. It's not about how many points you score, but it's how hard you play. And as long as you play hard, you give your best. As Biggie said, sky's the limit, son. So love you for that. All right.
Love you as well.
Okay, guys, that's a wrap.
I'm with you
This
now.
is Nobody Asked Me Guy show. we want you guys to understand that hey, audience, we're so pleased with you and we're happy that you're here. Now, all of you know that you go to YouTube, you look up the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. We ask that you subscribe, that you ask your friends to subscribe, and you come back with us. If you have guests that you'd like us to have, then you know to shoot me your information at the Nobody Asked Me Guy show at gmail.com. The Nobody Asked Me Guy show at gmail.com. Send me the name of the guest. If you have the contact information, send it to me. If you do not, then we will try our level best to get that information and we'll have that guest on. So listen, tonight has been great, and we wanted you to get to meet what I'll call a great American icon, a family man, a dad, a husband, a friend, a person that cares about human beings as a whole. So listen, we really thank all of you guys for being here. And as you know, we normally go Friday nights, but tonight we had to do a special. So come back with us every Friday night, basically 7 p.m. Nobody Asked Me Guy show. Host Melvin Casey Lars, and again, we bid you good night.